What's up, everybody? Welcome to Discourse Chill. I'm Ian.
And I'm your girl Reese. Today we want to do a brief mental health check-in, just see where we both are in the midst of this pandemic. We were hoping after 2+ years we would be done and out of the coronavirus, but it is still here and seemingly to be on the rise again. We were doing so well as a nation, as a world, numbers were going down, and now there seems to be a spike. Everybody outside, and we went outside without a response. We didn't go outside responsibly, so here we are. So today we're just going to check in with each other, see where we are mentally, and just get an overall, I guess, consensus of how we are. So, Ian, how are you, sir?
Man, I'm doing good. I think I'm fortunate during this time to have never got coronavirus. Like both my parents remained healthy. Like my siblings remained healthy. You remained healthy. For the most part, my people remained healthy, and I really am super
Good.
thankful and grateful for that because I think that's something a lot of people cannot say. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know. I don't feel great. Like I don't feel super excited when I go outside. Like for multiple reasons, but part of it is the pandemic, and so it's tough. Like I'm already a homebody, and this just gives me another excuse to stay inside. Because I
Yeah.
don't be inside the house bored. I be happy as hell. So
Okay. In the house boy, in the house boy, in the house boy, in the
yep,
house
I'm
boy.
like, hey.
Stuck in the house and I'm in the
Yeah,
house
so
boy.
I think I've been good, but I've been exploring the great outdoors, so snowboarding, lots of hiking, lots of like solitary things that I can do. Um,
Mhm.
but for the most part, I've been good. I'm blessed. I'm thankful. So yeah, how about yourself?
I am good overall. I can't complain. I too have not gotten sick at all. I haven't caught COVID. I did get strep throat early on, but it wasn't COVID, so that was great. No one in my immediate family, be it like my mom or my sister, nephews, grandma, caught COVID. My uncle did catch COVID. I think I spoke about that last year. He's in a nursing home, so someone who works there had to have brought it into the nursing home. But other than that, I personally have not been sick. One of the ladies that I used to babysit for years ago caught COVID, and they are laying her to rest tomorrow. So she did not
Oh wow.
survive. I'm still super close with her oldest son, and the youngest one as well. But just to see them going through the experience of losing their mom to COVID and now having to lay her to rest has been, kind of eye opening, and brings back the thought that wow, we are still here 2+ years later.
Yeah, absolutely. I think those are it's tough. It's just tough.
Yeah.
I know so many people who have lost people,
Hmm.
and to then continue to hear the narrative around, oh, it's fake,
Hmm.
oh, it's government, oh, it's
Yeah.
all these things, and like the audacity, the privilege. It's crazy to me to then be like continue to hear these stories about people that I
Yeah.
know still losing people, and still
Yeah.
like just trying to not get sick and trying to still find some semblance of life every single day.
Yeah, and it can be
Yeah.
draining. It can be very exhausting.
Yeah.
It's like a job to try to make sure that you stay healthy and that you're being responsible. And that could
hmm
definitely take a toll on you mentally. So I know overall you said you're good, but how are you mentally in this state that we're still in?
mm, I think mentally I'm good. Like I'm an introvert, and
Hmm.
so like has been a lot of time for me to like recharge, right? I think
Hmm.
I came to a realization over the last couple of weeks. I'm reading this book called Stealing Fire. Like, if you got time, pick it up. It's amazing. it talks about different ways to go into flow. And so
Okay.
I've been really thinking like through the times of my life where I have made these like big leaps and bounds. And I think
Mhm.
back to like being in North Carolina and like initially starting the Marquee Slam. I think about like the last 10 months I was, living with my dad and stuff like that. And the things that I was doing. And I'm somebody who enters flow through physical activity. So like working out is good, but also like the crazy shit that I do, like mountain biking and snowboarding and like trail running, like the things that like really make my heart going, like put me
Mhm.
into flow. And I have come to the realization that I need to like pursue that more. So like I do go to the gym, but I don't think I spend enough time like really putting myself into flow so I can be more productive. Um,
Mhm.
so yeah, I haven't read as much as I wanted to. I've been watching a lot of TV, so that's obviously something that's not a positive. But I think mentally overall, I've been good. Just really trying to center myself, get settled here in Denver, check in with my people. So I've been good. How about yourself mentally?
I'm not gonna lie, mentally I am exhausted. Throughout this whole thing, I didn't get a break. I kept
Yeah.
working. I lead a team, so I had to ensure that my people were good. I had to ensure that I made them feel safe. Even at moments when I didn't feel safe, I had to be like the face of, the company in regards to our employees and making sure that everybody was good. So I had to, turn my feelings off, basically.
Mm.
I am also very introverted. If it's my choice. So for outside to be closed and I didn't have any control over that really kind of messed with me because I don't want somebody to tell me I can't do something. I'm very rebel in that regard, but I had to like listen because if I went against the grain, then I might not be here.
Yeah.
So I am mentally exhausted. I don't feel like I've had a break,
Mm.
honestly, trying to maintain. I've always been the one making sure everybody else is good. So to ensure like the family around me is good and everybody has what they need.
Mm-hmm.
For the most part of this, I have been the caregiver of others and not the caregiver of myself.
Mm.
So I have recently stepped into caregiving for me.
Yeah.
I had to realize that I was running myself into the ground, and I am now trying to relax more mentally, and get more in line because I'm exhausted. It's been a lot. It's been a lot.
Yeah, yeah. Like we've talked about this over the last many months,
Yeah.
and I think it's so important that like you prioritize the self care portion, especially mentally, like physically, mentally,
Yeah.
to really create that strong foundation. And I'm
Yeah.
so happy to hear that you're doing different things now. And but yeah, it's taken a toll on a lot of people. I think I'm very fortunate in like I am a very solitary person, and I'm lucky enough, I'm fortunate enough to have been able to work from home. Um,
Mhm.
and just been able to cultivate like a routine and cultivate like the things that like I want to do without having to consider anybody else. Like especially being here in Colorado, living by myself. Like it's something that I'm like, yes, I can get up. I ain't got to put no clothes on. I can like walk around my house how I want to walk around my house. Like there's no,
Put
there's
some
not a
hands
lot
on
of
Ian.
consideration. No. And I'm not leading a team at work. Like I'm part of a team, and I
Yeah.
appreciate I have an awesome team at work, and so I know that there's
Mhm.
different responsibilities that come with work and with family and with those who you are close to when they're close around you. Because I stay with my daddy,
Mhm.
so I know like people got they put their energy on you, and you like, man, like I just want to do something for
Yeah.
myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but I'm sorry to hear that, but I'm also very happy to hear that you're on kind of like a new path in taking care of yourself.
Yes.
Yeah. So what have you felt you've learned like about yourself throughout the pandemic?
Um, I definitely learned that I I am more invested in other people's problems when it's not my responsibility.
Mm,
And I've learned that it's okay to say no to other people's responsibilities. um
yes.
it's just, I definitely, I don't know why I have adopted this superhero persona. Like, I am the quote unquote fixer. I have been my whole life, and it's kind of hard
Yeah.
to unlearn that, to
Mm,
allow myself to look out for myself and not really worry about others. It's a like, ooh, I don't know. Am I supposed to not be doing that? Because I've been doing it my whole life. So I've
yeah.
definitely learned that I can put down other people's problems. They are not mine to carry. That has been, I think, the biggest takeaway, and that's just in the last few months. Because again, through the whole
Yeah.
2 years, I was ensuring that my bills are paid, other people's bills are paid. My lights are on, other people's lights are on.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, all right, you need gas money, you need this, you need that. You know what I'm saying? Just making sure that everybody is taken care of. And I think part of that was the guilt of never missing a beat financially. I didn't have to go on unemployment. I didn't not have the ability to go to work every day.
Hmm.
So just taking on the responsibility and walking in the guilt of seeing my loved ones going without and I still had, and I had to realize, like, that's not my guilt to have. I have always been blessed, so I am a blessing, but I can't be a crutch. And I had to distinguish between the difference of being a blessing to someone and being somebody's crutch. So that is one of
Absolutely.
the biggest things I've learned, definitely about myself in these past 2 years.
Hmm.
Yeah. Can you say there's things that you have learned about yourself over these past 2 years?
Absolutely. I think, and it's interesting. Like one of the things that I learned, my job taught me about
Mm-hmm.
myself, and so over the last 2 years, I think there was a lot of stress. There was a lot of like urgency. There was a lot of like depending on myself only. And
Mm-hmm.
so, like moving to California and then like getting laid off or terminated, whatever they want to call it, and then being on unemployment and moving back to my dad's house and then finding a job and
Mm-hmm.
like dealing with racism in the middle of nowhere, Tennessee, and then finding a new
Yeah.
job and all these things and like all these societal things also going on during this entire time and like the lack of really feeling safe and also happy that I'm like inside. And then I came to
Mm-hmm.
Denver and I started with this job. And I remember my first or second day, I looked at my calendar and there was nothing on there. I had like an hour meeting. And I
Mm-hmm.
had reached out to my manager on Slack and I was like, I only got this hour meeting. What am I supposed to do today? And she was like, just take some time, get familiar with your computer, you know, and enjoy the day. I'm like, okay. And so like I'm stressing out, right? Like I'm like, this computer's gonna take me like 5 minutes to learn. I have the exact same one, like an older version, so I'm good there.
Mm-hmm.
So the next day, same thing. I had like two kind of quick connects with coworkers for an hour and nothing else. And I'm like, hey, like, what's going on? Like I feel like I'm
What's
not
the word?
contributing, I'm not doing enough. Like, yeah, I'm not trying to get fired. I just got this job. Like and so that first week we had a call and she was like going through over some things and I was like, what am I going to be doing? She's like, nothing. You're going to just take your time and do the trainings and learn. And I was like, yeah, but like that's not going to take me long. She's like, just let it take a little bit. It's okay. And I
Mm-hmm.
realized that like I had this like anxiety around productivity and like my worth and
Mm-hmm.
like how I contributed at work. And then I also
Mm-hmm.
had this like feeling or fear of being like terminated, right? Because I got
Yeah.
laid off in the middle of the
Yeah.
pandemic. I like lacked trust, and I felt very similar where people were having this response of like it's okay to not know right now, and we'll teach you later.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
this job was like genuine in that response, and my last one wasn't. And so
Right.
I had to like learn to like trust people again because like I don't know. I've been laid off twice in my life, and the
Mm-hmm.
first time I was laid off was like back in 2011 ish, and I started my own
Mm-hmm.
company, and I was like, I'm never gonna work for anybody again. Like F y'all,
Yeah.
F the system. And that that business was great for 11 years, and then the pandemic came and was like, shut this down. You gotta go.
Right.
And the first time I relied on somebody, like I feel like I was undertrained, under communicated with, under like cared for in a time where I
Mhm.
felt like completely lost and abandoned, and then I got terminated. And
Yeah.
so I just had a lot of anxiety, put a lot of pressure on myself to be a certain type of successful.
Yeah.
And so that's one thing I learned. I learned that I was just like gaslit and like I don't know, had a lot of anxiety around like professional. And then
Mhm.
the second part I learned is that I was exhausted. Like
Yeah.
I was tired of always being on, right? So like I had my own business, you and I had the nonprofit, we had the show that we did once a month, like we had taxes and grant writing and events we're
Mhm.
doing and like we had the podcast and the podcast was good because it like felt like it took a lot of pressure when I was off took a lot of pressure off when I was unemployed, like a creative outlet. And then I had like
Mhm.
the pressure of like being creative and like writing new poems every month and putting out a book and like making jewelry and like all these little side hustles that I had. And I really just needed like 5 minutes to sit
To
my ass
not.
down and like, not
Yeah.
do nothing. And
Yeah.
I did that. Like I did that from September until probably my birthday, which is in February. And I just like didn't make any plans really. I didn't like start some new business venture. I just like built a home here, furnished my house, and just like sat on my ass. I gained like 12 pounds. But I needed it. Like I needed to like not do anything and clear my head and really just find peace and like quiet and some calm and like I'm finally in that place where I'm like, okay, I feel like I can ramp back
Mhm.
up again, you know, like because I feel like I have a very solid foundation at work, and I feel like my creativity is flowing in a way that is not. There's no pressure, you know. There's no pressure to produce or like be a certain thing. It's just like I can just be creative and go with whatever flow I feel, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think you
Yeah.
touched on it a little bit, but like what are some of the things that you actually struggled with outside of the lack of trust? Were there other things that you struggled with?
During the pandemic,
Yeah.
I think. Uh, I think the like George Floyd is something I struggled with, like that and
Yeah.
that happening um, was different because I saw it as something where all of these people are seeing the things that we have been seeing for so long because there's nothing for them
Mhm.
to do, right? So like the news comes
Mhm.
on, that story is on TV, and like it's in the forefront, and we're out protesting, and like I
Mhm.
continue to still like have reminders of like I'm not safe, period, you know.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
and then even with the events that have happened at the grocery store, at the school, and it's like I'm still not safe. And I think that's the thing that I've struggled with most is like even though we've talked about it, even though people have seen like the racism, the evilness, the complete disregard, people like read books and watched movies and did all these things, and like I still don't feel any different. Like I don't feel like we really have like changed the hearts and minds of the masses. I think there's maybe a little more sympathy, but not necessarily enough empathy. And there's definitely not enough accountability or acknowledgement still. I think the the in, the conviction for the George Floyd case was huge. It was a great,
Mhm.
like I don't even want to call it a win. It was just justice, right? Like it was just
Right. It
justice,
was the right
nothing
thing.
more.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like the right thing to do, and we finally experienced that, and so that was a good feeling. But I struggled with like, am I feeling so good about this because I've had nothing before? You know, like
Yeah.
it's like if you're starving and somebody give you a Ritz cracker, that shit gonna be delicious. But like at the
Right.
end of the day, it's a Ritz cracker. You know what I mean? Like it ain't a
Yeah.
steak.
Yeah.
It ain't like shrimp. It ain't lobster. It ain't whatever you love. It's a Ritz cracker, and it was like just enough to hold you over so you didn't starve. And
Mhm.
I've struggled with like that part the most. Is like continued reminders of like you're not safe here. You have to be on the lookout. You like when you go out in public, you still have to like be on guard. And I
Yeah.
live in Denver, and I can't say it's a diverse area, you know. And I was at the gym today, and a guy like had a "Let's Go Brandon" shirt on, and it made me think. And I was like, you know what, like all the like Democrats, less moderate, like left leaning moderates that I know, like we like fuck Donald Trump, right? Like that's our slogan.
Yeah.
Like there ain't no
Yeah.
phrase that means a thing. And I really wish our
Right.
politicians had that same energy, right? Like
Yeah.
I feel like our politicians are like the we're gonna do a thing to like mean a thing, but we don't really want to get involved, or unless we can get like full accountability, we're not gonna move forward. But
Right.
yeah, I don't know. I've struggled with that over the pandemic, and I like struggle at mentally because I think I too have had time to really think about like the times I've been in
Hmm.
like dangerous situations, the time that like I got called the N word at a job that I was like a cook, you know, like I was
Yeah.
like that job didn't mean nothing, and I'm over here getting called out my name, my like put
Right.
myself in danger. So yeah, that's what I struggled with continuously, but I struggled with it a
Yeah.
lot during the pandemic. How about yourself? Are there things that you really struggle with?
Um, so definitely, the racism on display was a full struggle. It was kind of like a gift and a curse. It was a curse because it brought up the traumas within our community, but it was a gift because people actually got to see, like the world stood still and had no choice but to see, who we are, quote unquote, America. So
Yeah.
that was definitely hard during that time. Personal struggle that I dealt with and was brought to light was the fact that I don't have to be perfect. I always like I want to finish first. I want to be the best at what I'm doing. I'm super competitive,
Hmm.
and even in like I'm currently on a weight loss journey. So my coach was like, my first week, I mean, I like woof, took off through the gate, 11 pounds in 1 week. And she was like, that's great. But I need you to realize that this is not a marathon. You don't have to be the first to finish. You don't have to be the fastest. You need to slow down, take your time, learn the lessons of this so that you don't miss anything trying to speed through it and be the first or the best or the fast, lose the most weight. um
Yeah.
and it really clicked to me in that moment, like I have been trying to be the best, be the first, be the fastest, my entire life. I'm trying to be seen as the perfect one and seen as, oh yeah, she's great, she does everything, and I am great. Let's not let's not confuse my greatness, because I am great. But just the fact that I don't have to be perfect, and that I am also human, and I also feel, and I also, what I'm saying, need the time and the recognition. And I said to her, like, who motivates the motivator, and I have been the motivator forever, but it's like, who motivates the motivator, who is the one who cheers for the cheerleaders, so it was one of those things that I had to look at and self evaluate. And again, like I didn't get this early on in the pandemic because I had to keep going to work, so I never got the time to like just sit with myself.
Hmm.
But on this back end, and as the numbers are starting to rise again, I guess it's my turn to be able to see, like, where I struggle in life, and things as an overall person. Again, I'm great. I know it, but just trying to ensure that I realize that I have to take that time for myself as well, and I can't be everything to everybody if I'm nothing to myself. So
Yeah.
that was the
I think
go
that
ahead.
we all struggle with that like that black excellence piece, right? Like we've always been
Yeah.
taught to like we had to be better to
Mhm.
be
Yep.
the same, right? Or we had to be like
Right.
the best to be equal.
Mhm.
Like I think
Right.
that's we all I think we all struggle with that, and it's good that you recognize that like
Mhm.
that's something that you've been putting in the forefront and trying to present in everything.
Mhm.
And like you can't always
Yeah.
be everything for everyone. like you have to be everything
Right.
for yourself first, and then everybody else gets what's left over. You know, like
Right, right. I mean, and that's so true. Like even with my job, it's like I'm trying to once was trying to present and be like oh Sharice can do this, 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 and this. Just to be in the room. Hell, I'm not even sitting at the table. I'm just in the room, and I'm at the door of the room. So it's
yeah,
like I'm doing all of this and busting my behind, and some of my counterparts can do the bare minimum and be sitting at the table. So it's like wait a minute. I'm giving my all to a company, and at the end of the day, if something happens to me, the company's going to continue with or without me. So I have to make sure that I'm good. So yeah.
exactly, exactly.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
like how has the pandemic like changed your perception of like people?
Well, it has pretty much solidified my thoughts of people are trash. Humans be humaning at times. But it really did show me that we have a major character flaw in this thing called humanity. This pandemic has shown me the worst of people. People don't
Hmm.
have consideration for others. Even with something as simple as wearing a mask. It's my right. And like it's like wow, you have this pandemic that's affecting everybody. It doesn't see color, it doesn't see age, it doesn't see gender. It just sees kill, and if you have a chance to ensure that you're doing your part, and then like people just made such a big deal about simply wearing a mask, about personal space, back up. I still to this day tell people I'm gonna need you to back up. If somebody's walking into my space, I'm backing up and they're still backing up. I'm backing up so you can stop. Like, listen, get out of my space. I mean, I've always been funny about people being in my space and touching me anyway. Like that's just been it's been a thing my whole life. But now, like I see that people are trash. There are some who are considerate and those that are still out there trying to ensure the health of other people. But the trash came out in pandemic. It was on full display, be it behaviors or actions or just like people be peopling. And sometimes peopling ain't good. you know. Um what
Yeah.
about you? Did you see any changes? Or were more aware of something?
No, I think I tell people all the time I don't like people. Like, and
Yeah.
it's because most people are trash, in my opinion. Like, I love a lot of people. They're like, Reese, I love you. You know,
And I love you
my
back.
family. Like, I got some trash people in my family too.
Hmm.
Like we all do. But like, I don't know. I think people came out and acted exactly what I expected of,
Mm.
especially Americans, right? Like, I feel like I have
Yeah.
this like I'm from America. I grew up here, and I've always like
Hmm.
just had this idea that like I don't know, Americans be like we the best like, for no reason, right? Like
Yeah.
we have all these rights, but it's like nah, you got privilege. Like there's a difference,
Hmm.
and like you can't
Yeah.
see that, and I just feel very I don't know. I I felt like people came out and acted an ass, acted a fool, and I'm just like, this is what we do here. Like it ain't no different.
Yeah.
Like this all the things that happened with like people in masks and people acting a fool on planes and people acting a fool in grocery stores and
Yeah.
the inconsideration, it all happens every single day and was amplified when like now it's like a very specific instance, right? Like I
Hmm.
don't know. And like the racism still is rampant and running wild and shit. Like,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
yeah, it just I want to have faith in this country and in humanity as a whole, and I continue to be shown that like, why are you gonna continue to believe in something that there's no proof that it's going to be better, right? Like, there's no proof that people are better, more considerate, more aware of their surroundings. Like,
Mhm.
I don't even need people to be selfless. I need people to be self-aware, right? Like that's it. Like
Yeah.
just be aware of yourself and understand like your boundaries and the things that you need, and don't push none
Yeah.
of that shit on me. Don't push none of that shit on nobody else or society. Just like show up for you, and even that I feel like would be good. But people just acting ass all the time, and
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
people go through things and they got stuff going on in their life and like that's when you need to be self-aware and recognize, maybe I should stay home today because I feel like I'm one wrong comment away from acting the ass in public and being on TikTok for the next
Right.
fucking 6 months.
Right. And then
So
crying, I don't
I
want
don't
to lose my job. I'm sorry. Like,
listen.
yeah.
If I see
Yeah.
that, like I've been seeing so many videos of people acting the ass, and then like being on TikTok, and then the same video or same person is like, I can't believe y'all ruined my life. Like we didn't ruin your life.
Yeah.
You ruined your
You
life.
ruined your life.
You let your racism come out in place. Somebody recorded it and was like,
Right.
"Hey, this happened
Right.
today." Like, I don't know. My mama told me like my mom brought me up better. Like, I grew up in a time where if you act a fool in public, you got your ass beat at home. Like that was.
Yeah.
So now it's like I know the consequences of my actions, and I feel like all the folks that
Right.
didn't get beat at home are outside acting ass, getting fired from jobs now.
Right. This is your beating. This is the beating you should have gotten.
This is your beating. Yeah, you didn't learn the consequences of your actions, so now,
Right. Live with the
yeah.
consequences. Yeah.
I will
Have
say
there been
though,
ways?
hold on, I want to say
Go
too,
ahead.
like I have seen people step up and be good people too. Like I have seen
Yes.
some things that have like I don't know warmed my heart with people and like
Mhm.
how they have given of themselves or of their like
Mhm.
finances or of what they could. So I want to make sure I
Mhm.
mention that as well because, but that is such a small percentage of like the whole. Like I think I say most and people are like, well, you can't always say. I was like, yes, put 10 of us in a room, and I guarantee like two or three of us are good, and the rest of us are trash. And in my opinion, that's most. when you 70% trash, like,
Yeah.
yeah,
And
like,
the sad part in that is that the good is always overshadowed by the bad, you
mm-hmm,
know? So, and it's crazy because like I just saw a post, Facebook look back and show you some things. A few weeks ago, I had a post up about a protest that was done here in Fayetteville, and it was
mm-hmm,
organized quickly. And the Black Voice of Fayetteville jumped into action
mm-hmm.
and shut down the busiest business strip in our city. Skybo shut down everything from Walmart all the way down to um, Target and Best Buy. Like the mall shut down.
Oh wow,
Everything, all the major businesses in our city shut down. And it was great, like peaceful protest. And then all of a sudden it turned left. And what turned into a win for the black voice affecting the economy turned into the loss for the black voice affected the economy because of the looting and the vandalism and all that kind of stuff. Like everything good that happened through the first part of the day was overshadowed by all of the bad, breaking
mm-hmm.
into the mall. And they broke into every Walmart in
Oh
Fayetteville.
wow,
Yeah, like I mean, it was just destruction throughout the whole city.
mm-hmm,
And the works of a few overshadowed the work of the masses. So the bad
mm-hmm.
always overshadows the good, and that is one thing that's hard to overcome. To be such a powerful economic force for the good of the voice turned into a voice for the bad, or like a economic force for the bad. So
Yeah,
they don't remember how we impacted the economy, in fact, in terms of our voices and being heard. And when we get together and organize, like we can shut shit down. That was
mm-hmm.
completely overshadowed. When we organize and get together, we can tear shit up, is what they saw.
Exactly,
So
exactly.
that was definitely something hard to reread in my Facebook look back, because I talked about it. Black folk, let me bring you to the table. Come here, sit down. We need to talk. Was pretty much the post. But What would you say are ways that you've taken care of yourself? Have you been taking care of yourself fully throughout this
Mhm.
pandemic?
Um, I think it started like when I moved to Tennessee. Uh, I first of all, like I will say this, I like self awareness is super important to me, and like
Mhm.
I'm somebody who can look in the mirror and look myself dead in the face and be like, "Yo, you fucking up," you know, like
Yeah.
you or
Yeah.
you're not doing enough, or all these things. Like I want to say that to myself before anybody else notices, you know. Um,
Mm.
and so I remember being there and just feeling terrible for like moving back in with my dad, not having employment, like just watching TV on Indeed, kind of like applying for jobs. And I had a moment where I was like, you know what? Like, I need to process what's going on in here before I can do
Mhm.
anything externally, right? And the things that
Yeah.
help me process, do my self work. Like, so I started journaling. That was like the first step. And
Mhm.
then I made a workout plan. That was the second step, you know? And so I was like, I'm going to do this every day and I'm going to do this every day. And when I'm in a place where I feel like these things are not tasks or chores, or like I'm like really
Mhm.
pulling myself out of bed to do them, I'm going to add
Mhm.
something else. And that's what I did. So I started journaled for like 5 or 6 days, did like some jumping jacks and some push ups and stuff, like kind of like getting some activity in. And then I started like doing weightlifting and running and stuff like that. And then 2 or 3 weeks into that, I'm like, all right, like I need to apply for this many jobs a day. And then I was like, no, I gotta start from scratch. I need to rebuild
Mhm.
my resume, like find who I am in this like new world, identify a new career path. And so like I took the time to really like evaluate myself, right? Like evaluating my skills, evaluating my experience, and then realizing what I'm really good at and focusing on a particular industry that like catered to my skills, right? So I did
Right.
background investigations for 15 years interviewing all kinds of damn people. And I was like, what
Mhm.
like can I do? I was like, I can interview people, right? Like and
Mhm.
everybody need a job, so recruiters are always gonna like have opportunities. So I was like, I'm gonna be a recruiter.
Right.
And
Mhm.
like redid my resume and then I just like basically made a plan. I just continued to make a plan of like how I wanted to like exist in this world
Yeah.
and how I wanted to like pave my way to success. And so planning
Yeah.
became a thing that like I did with everything. I then like created a budget, like because I'm unemployed, so like I have a very specific amount of money in my account. All right, I need to find a
Right.
part-time job, you know, and so it just became like this evolving and building plan to
Mhm.
like find some semblance of grounding myself, find myself again, and really focus on how to take like the little steps to get to where I wanted to be at the time. And I think that's something that I learned was very powerful and really connected me with my younger self because
Mhm.
I've always been a planner of my life. I've always been a planner of like goals and how I want to show up for people. And I've always like been really big on like writing things down and then like sticking to those things. And so I was like, I need to like
Mhm.
re-implement this and bring this back so I can bring myself back. You know, and I think that's the thing that
Yeah.
I've learned how to take care of myself, take care of my mind is like creating a plan and really like believing in the plan and just like following through. How about
Yeah.
yourself? What are some things that you've done to like take care of yourself?
So most of my things are most recently. I have started self care in regards to like massages. Listen, a friend of mine gifted me a 90-minute massage and it changed my life. So I have since then been booking 90-minute massages. Like if 90 minutes is what it's my that's my floor. You know, I don't want your 30 minute, your 60 minute. I need a 90-minute massage. And when I tell you just to feel so loose and relaxed, afterwards, just to be free. It feels like a weight has been lifted up. Tension definitely has been released. I've learned that I hold all my tension in my neck and my shoulders. So to have all of that, just released and worked out has been great. I have, of course, I've always written, so I write as well still. And I just take the time, like when I know I'm feeling stressed, or if I know I just need to like relax, I'm just going to do that. There have been days where I've been off and have gotten off the bed long enough to shower and put on another set of pajamas. And it's like, on the couch or on the bed in the remote or listening to an audio book. Audible is my friend. And then I have also started working out again. I didn't realize how much of a stress reliever, or how much I missed the stress reliever of working out. I gained so much weight during the pandemic. I saw a picture of myself and was like, who the hell's that? Like, like I was really unrecognizable, and I had lost who I was. And that was like the aha moment for me when I saw that picture. And I was like, oh my, am I really out here in these streets walking around looking like this? And like, and you can tell me nothing, content, fat, happy, just, listen. Coming home, eating the big cup Reese cups, that was my thing. Peach rings, loved them. So just having to get back into Sharice. I had to start paying more attention to me. And yeah, if I need a massage, I'm gonna get massage. I get up in the morning. I'm walking, working out. I'm doing dance sessions at night. Throwing that thing in a circle in the house by myself, preparing for somebody's son. Yeah. Catch this circle, catch the circle, boy.
Let me find out
So just
you trying to make somebody a single daddy. Let me find out.
Listen, I don't need him to be a single daddy. Listen, sir, if you are invested in a relationship, you stay over there. That's not what I need. But to the fellas out there, your girl is, hey, I'm popping. Head up, and I can throw that thing in a circle. Oh man, but yeah, just being more intentional with myself has been the biggest thing that I could have done for myself. And just turning everything that I've given out and poured out to other people around, and pouring it and giving it into myself has been the best way that I have started taking care of myself. And again, it's just been as recent as these past few months. And sometimes we learn lessons late in life. Sometimes we have
Mhm.
to realize who we are after the fact. And I am living in the after the fact right now. So it's been good. Yeah, it's been good.
Yeah,
Yep.
nice.
Do you have
And
any go ahead.
no, no, go ahead.
I was gonna say, do you have any key takeaways from these past 2+ years?
I think that in the beginning of the pandemic, I thought this was something that was going to be over, right? Like I think
Hmm.
that
Hmm.
I was under the impression that this was temporary. And I'm
Yeah.
now in the place where I'm accepting that this is life moving forward, right? So I
Yeah.
don't think
Yeah.
we're going to go back to the quote unquote normal that we experienced
Hmm.
prior to. I don't think
Yeah.
like we're going to be able to be in a place where the coronavirus is not a thing anymore. Um,
Yeah.
and so I think that was the biggest piece of acceptance that I needed to have is that
Hmm.
the numbers are going to go low and then they're going to spike, and then the numbers are going to go low and then they're going to spike. So we needed to
Yeah.
figure out how to really navigate during this time and really um, show up for ourselves and our communities
Hmm.
and our people, and just provide support. And I think all the things we talked about today, like the things that we have felt, the
Hmm.
things we experience and struggle with, continue to share these conversations, and
Yeah.
we are not singular in we're not the only one who has had these experiences. We're not the only one who are experiencing these things on a regular basis.
Hmm.
And so it's important for us to continue to hey, I know how you're feeling. Like, let's chat about it. Let's talk about it. And so yeah, I think those are my two takeaways. Is like, take care of yourself. Like,
Mhm.
find a plan that works for you. Like, however you want to reintegrate yourself back into society, or like if you want to be out there, cool. Like, I'm all for folks being out there, like, in every way possible. Um, and
Yeah.
I'm all good with like people getting coronavirus. Like, I think it's important that we continue to push, like, just, I don't want to say push vaccinations, but like push the options for people to make for themselves. Like, whether that be
Yeah.
vaccinations or quarantining or whatever it is you want to do for you. Like, I'm pro vaccine. Like, I've been
Yeah.
vaccinated. I think it has definitely kept me from getting COVID on a couple of occasions. And I don't know. Yeah, I just think it's something we're gonna have to live with. Something we're gonna have to like figure out how to navigate more seamlessly, because I think it's still a little clunky. There's still a lot of like CDC changing their damn mind every 5 minutes. Um, like, oh, you come in contact, it's 10 days, it's 5 days, send them back to school after 2 days. Like, which one is it?
Right.
Like,
Right. Right.
can we get one to stick with one? But yeah, I think it's important for us to like understand that this is a thing that's going to be the new norm, and we have to take care of ourselves and take care of our people, and help people through their struggles.
Yeah.
How about yourself?
Um, my major takeaways, I have, I think, two main ones. The first one is that other people's responsibilities are not your responsibilities. You know, you have to allow people to figure things out for themselves. It's okay to assist but not take over. And I feel like I was taking over
Mm-hmm.
somebody else's responsibility. So I had to, find my no. I've been trying to find my no for years, but I think I found it. She right there. And then also know that, you are, I say this quote all the time, you are only responsible for today. All other days will take care of themselves as they come. Don't stress about tomorrow because it hasn't gotten here yet. Focus on today. So just learning that I'm only responsible for today and making sure that I maintain and get through this day. And then as the days come, I'll just, take them one by one, knock them off, and, keep them moving. So yeah, that's been the biggest thing. Being more aware of myself, knowing that one day at a time is a thing, and other people's responsibilities are not my own.
Mm-hmm. I think that is
So that,
powerful. I
yeah,
think
yeah,
that
it's
is
been huge for me.
a lesson of life inside, before, after the pandemic, pre,
Yeah,
post. That's just like a message for life. I think it's definitely a very important thing, because like, I don't know. I remember being
yeah,
young, and like, I have always had that mindset that your problem is not my problem. If I can assist you in your problem, I will help. And I remember being
yeah,
called selfish when I was younger. Like, and
yeah,
it was interesting. I was being called selfish by people who would never be around when I needed help. And
yeah,
so it's something
yeah,
that like I learned at a young age, out of, I guess, necessity more so than
mhm,
like this is what I was taught. So I think it's very
yeah,
powerful to understand, like that's what I said. Like, I now give everything to myself, and other people can
mhm,
get what's left, because like I have to take
mhm,
care of me, or I can't show up for you. Like, if I show up for you
yeah,
and not take care of me, then I might as well not even be there. So I want to show up for my people. I want to show up for Reese. I want to show up for my family. So for me to do that, um, I got to take care of me first. I got to make sure that I'm
yeah,
good. I got a stable foundation, and then from there, I can give to Reese. From there, I can give to the people I love. So I can give to my family. Like, I can give. I can be abundance for others, but it has to
mhm,
start here first.
yeah,
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah. Well,
That's a word.
I think this has been. I think this has been a really powerful conversation. I really appreciate you sharing and being vulnerable in this space. Uh, And I want to speak on this too because like I think this podcast for me has been like such a beautiful thing to see. Like I remember meeting Reese, and Reese wouldn't tell you a damn thing. Like you had to earn the right to learn about Reese. Like you had to get there's a checklist, right? Like all right, consistency check, loyalty check, sharing check. I can eat food off his plate check. Um, okay, now I share my thoughts, emotions, and feelings with.
I think the biggest misconception about me is that I am unapproachable and I'm shut off.
Mhm.
I will say yes, I do have a wall. However, I am the don't do me. But I am an open book. I always say people who want to know about you ask questions, and sometimes people don't ask questions. They will spill and like put all of their stuff on you, but don't in return just ask simple questions. So somebody. How was your day? A lot of people don't ask me how my day is going before they start dumping. So it's like
Mm,
not that I'm standoffish, but like I mean, if you're not even asking about how I'm doing, when you do finally ask, I don't think it's genuine. I think you finally realize like, oh well, maybe I need to ask how she doing before I ask her for something for the thousandth time. You know what I'm saying? It's not a genuine trying to get to know me. So that's where that comes in at. Like it's not, again, I am the most open book. I say a lot without saying anything because people don't ask for the things that should be said, and that's just kind of where it is. I'm not gonna force feed myself into people's lives. If they don't do the bare minimum of asking questions, then they don't deserve me in that vulnerable state. So I mean,
yeah,
I give you what you ask for when it comes to me. So if you're not trying to get to know
yeah,
me
I
for
agree.
real, for real, then it's not. Call me
I
standoffish.
agree,
It is what
but
it is. you know
I, I still think that you have like grown in like I've you gotta understand, Reese. I've known you for damn near 12 years, right? So, like, when I say that the vulnerability has stepped up, like, I'm recognizing the growth over the last 12 years. Like, you have been more open and willing to share in like the last couple years that I've known you than I've known, because I ask questions. Like, I'm nosy as hell. Like,
mm,
I
you
am.
know what, Loki? But you really haven't asked a lot of questions about me. Like, because I'm like, well, how was your childhood? And I mean, I ask it all because I am the nosy. Like, I mean, I don't know why. This is in the dictionary, nosy. And it's not even so much nosy. I'm very inquisitive. It's just by nature. Like, I want to know. Especially if I value someone, I want to know the ins and outs of that person.
Yeah,
So like there's questions that are kind of, for me, are kind of like standard questions that I ask everybody, and then depending on the answer, I do follow up questions. So
yeah,
sometimes it's just and I can tell when somebody is giving me a surface answer, then I'm going to pull it out of you. But I mean, a lot of people just hit me with surface. And there are a lot of context clues in the things that I say, but people miss it. So, I mean, again, I am an open book. I'm probably the most unread open book because people they listen to respond and not necessarily listen
Mm,
to take it in and then ask the follow up questions. Because I mean, I've
that's
said again, I've said a lot, and have not said anything at the same time because nobody inquires deeper. So
yeah.
people want
I,
surface, they get surface.
No,
You
I
know,
hear you. I hear
I,
you.
I give you
I
the
still
level
stand
within which you
by,
act.
I still stand by what I said. Like, yes, I do think you are not, like, there is a wall for sure. And I just think,
Hmm.
like, as our relationship has gotten, like, further along and as our friendship has grown, like, I can see there are instances where you have been willing to be more vulnerable than like
Hmm.
similar instances that have happened previously. And I just want to appreciate your like I don't know. I feel like it's a space where you've grown in that space. To me,
Okay.
yeah, that is all. That is all.
Well,
But I
thank God
also
for
think
growth.
we need to have a I also think we need to have a podcast about conversation, like listening to respond, because that shit hit me in the throat, and
Listen,
I was like, oh yeah,
listen.
I want to talk about that because
I mean, a lot of people do. A lot of people listen to respond. They or
yeah,
not even listen. They hear to respond because it's like, are you really
mhm.
listening or you just hearing me? You know?
Yeah,
Yeah. So,
exactly, exactly.
there's a difference.
There is. But all right, y'all, we're
Yeah.
gonna wrap this up. We just had like a 5-10 minute segue about something totally different, but this is gonna be season three.
You tried to come for
Um,
me. Well, you tried to come for me.
I'm trying to give you a compliment. I wasn't coming for you. I was just trying to
Oh,
share some
okay.
love with you.
Well,
That's all.
thank you for the love. Thank you for the love.
No, but yes, so we'll be back next week with a brand new episode. Yeah, please like, subscribe, share this video, help us grow this
Mhm.
platform. We're sorry for the long layoff, but we back in full effect, and we love y'all, and we will see y'all next time.
Bye, chillers.